This isn't for West Wing Week, is it?
Welcome to the West Wing Week, your guide to everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But first, a brief message from the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Hi, folks. The Recovery Act has already saved or created as many as 2.8 million jobs. But in a sense, we're just getting started. This summer is going to be the most active season of the Recovery Act projects since it's been passed. And the President, Cabinet members, and I, we're going to be traveling across the country to visit some of the thousands of active Recovery Act projects. Roads, bridges, water projects, infrastructure projects, all putting people back to work and making for better, more productive communities. So check it out. Check it out at the whitehouse.gov/recovery.
This week, June 11th to June 17th, or Gator-cade. On Friday, June 11th, the President met with small business owners in the Oval Office to highlight measures to help small businesses grow and hire new workers.
The most unanimous support around any economic policy is helping small businesses. I think the American people generally feel a great deal of affinity to folks like you. You know, they can see themselves in you, you know, and they understand how important it is to when you're starting something up to have some support.
He then delivered a statement in the Rose Garden urging Congress to take action on his proposal.
To replace the millions of jobs lost in the recession, we're going to need to make sure that small companies are able to open up and expand and add names to their payroll.
On Monday, June 14th, President Obama made his fourth trip to the Gulf Coast to review conditions on the ground in Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida following the BP oil spill. He began with a briefing in the Coast Guard station at Gulfport, Mississippi, where he met with Governors Barber and Jindal, as well as other local officials.
Folks around the table here have been working 24/7. The governors, they've been on a constant state of full alert and have been putting in a lot of time and a lot of energy working with Thad Allen to make sure that in dealing with this disaster, we are minimizing the short-term impacts and we're making sure that we've got the resources to fully recover.
The President and National Incident Commander Admiral Thad Allen then spoke with local residents whose livelihoods had been threatened by the spill.
But one of the things we've been able to avoid across the entire Gulf, because the way we've been managing this, is impact on shipping and ports. There have been no ports closed.
Right.
And that potential exists from time to time, but we've had cleaning stations, places to decon, and then work with the ports.
They stopped at a snow cone stand to cool off before the President departed for Alabama.
I think lemon lime's the right one.
That's something else we agree on. Come on, guys.
Upon arrival, the President toured the staging facility in Theodore, Alabama, where the boom that protects the coast from oil is cleaned, repaired, and redeployed.
It actually fuses and we see
fuses into the boom itself.
Yes, sir.
He then talked to Alabama officials about the scope of the government's efforts and the challenges that lie ahead.
We are seeing an enormous response, but I'll be honest with you, even with as good of a response as Steve, Thad Allen, and others have mounted, this is going to still have a significant effect. There's going to be oil that comes onto the coast all across the Gulf.
President Obama then took a ferry ride from Dauphin Island to Fort Morgan to take a close look at the channels or cuts in the coast, the areas most vulnerable to the spill.
Figuring out what we can do here, as Thad said, our best option probably is if oil starts coming through here, you just got to skim it.
Yes.
You got to have a lot of skimmers, and you just got to try to get,
Try to hit it all.
Afterward, the President ended a busy day with dinner at Tacky Jack's restaurant in Orange Beach, Alabama, surprising patrons and taking the opportunity to speak with Mayor Kennan about what can be done to protect the shore.
But we've got it triple boomed, and we shut down boat traffic everywhere down this way, so it has really helped keep the oil within the confines of the pass.
On Tuesday morning, June 15th, the President and Florida Governor Charlie Crist visited the unblemished beaches of Gulf Breeze, Florida, before holding a meeting with local officials at the Fish Sandwich Snack Bar.
There are risks involved in that, and it would make sense for us to have a more comprehensive energy strategy that focuses on clean energy. That's going to be a major debate, because it's hard. It requires us to change our patterns of living and our economy in ways that we've been putting off for the last 50 years, as long as you and I have been around. Our economy is built on cheap gas and readily accessible gas.
Before heading back to Washington, D.C., President Obama visited our servicemen and women stationed at Pensacola Naval Air Station to thank them for their help in the effort to contain and control the BP oil spill.
Here at Naval Air Station, Pensacola, you've been one of the major staging areas. You've helped to support the response effort, and I thank you for that. And I know the people of Pensacola thank you for that. And all along the Gulf Coast, our men and women in uniform, active, guard, and reserve from across the country are stepping up and helping out.
That night, the President addressed the nation from the Oval Office about the strategy to deal with the immediate effects of the BP oil spill and to lay out the longer-term strategy to restore the Gulf Coast.
Make no mistake, we will fight this spill with everything we've got for as long as it takes. We will make BP pay for the damage their company has caused. And we will do whatever's necessary to help the Gulf Coast and its people recover from this tragedy.
On Wednesday, June 16th, the President met with executives from BP to ensure they understand and fulfill their responsibility to help the people, businesses, and communities of the Gulf Coast recover from this disaster. He then spoke to the press in the state dining room.
I'm pleased to announce that BP has agreed to set aside $20 billion to pay claims for damages resulting from this spill. This $20 billion will provide substantial assurance that the claims people and businesses have will be honored.
That evening, President Obama spoke with members of the American Nurses Association. He joked that he wasn't just there to thank them for their enthusiastic support for health care reform.
I don't break promises to nurses because you never know when I'm going to need a shot. And I don't want them, working that needle all kind of, I can't find the vein.
On Thursday, June 17th, Vice President Biden commandeered the White House briefing room to talk to reporters about the recovery summer and the transportation projects that will put Americans back to work, upgrading our nation's infrastructure.
Consensus reports out there that this growth is going to be sustained at that 3% plus range for the indefinite future.
Meanwhile, the President met with Navy Secretary and former Mississippi Governor Ray Mabus, who has been tasked with developing a long-term Gulf Coast restoration plan in conjunction with Gulf Coast residents, tribes, fishermen, businesses, and conservationists. To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Sorry, just before I go on, is that a butterfly on the back of your boot there, Dad?
It certainly is.
That doesn't convey the kind of toughness that we tend to like to see out of our...
A butterfly, a former middle linebacker. I'm not sure what's going on here, sir.
I mean, how about
Please don't tell the troops.